I'm Proffitt-Boyd, and this is Say It Anyway.
Say it anyway with Proffitt-Boyd. Say it anyway. Say it anyway with Proffitt-Boyd. Say it anyway.
Welcome back to Say It Anyway. I'm Proffitt-Boyd, and tonight I want to talk about something that I think applies to almost all of us. Something so common that we hardly even notice we're doing it. We put our lives on hold. Not literally, but mentally, emotionally. We tell ourselves that life will finally begin when something happens. When we lose the weight. When we find the relationship. When we get the promotion. Or when we get out of debt, or retire, or heal. When we finally become the person we think we're supposed to be. And until then, we wait. The problem is that sometimes we spend so much time waiting that we accidentally miss the life we're already living. We create a little bit of an invisible finish line. But have you ever noticed that the finish line keeps moving? Let's talk about it right after this break. Welcome back to Say It Anyway. Today we're talking about trying to live more in the present. When we're young, we think, if I can just graduate. Then we graduate, and suddenly it's, if I can just get a job. Then, if I can just get a better job. Then, if I can just buy a house. If I can just pay off the house. If I can just retire. And then we retire and wonder where 40 years went. The finish line kept moving. And the strange thing is that most of us don't even realize we're the ones moving it. We've taught ourselves to say, I'll allow myself to relax later. I'll enjoy life later. I'll be proud of myself later. Or I'll appreciate what I have later. We continue to say later, later, and later. And one day, we wake up and realize we've spent years postponing our own happiness. I personally have done this more times than I can count. Growing up in a small Kentucky town, I spent years believing that my real life was somewhere else waiting for me. Happiness always seemed to live down the road, in another city or another chapter or in another version of myself. I thought if I could just leave, if I could just become something different, or if I could just figure everything out, then life would begin. And eventually, I did leave. I moved. I built a career. I met Tommy. And I even started my own businesses. I started a life I never thought I'd have. But the lesson I learned? Life didn't suddenly begin. Because life had been happening the entire time. Even back then. Even in moments I couldn't appreciate yet. Even in seasons I was desperate to escape. Life wasn't waiting for me somewhere else. Life had been unfolding the entire time, while I was too busy looking ahead. Starting this podcast taught me something interesting, because when I started Say It Anyway, I had goals. I imagined where it might go, how many people might listen, what would it become? And there's nothing wrong with having goals. But if we're not careful, goals can steal the joy of the present. Because the moment we reach one goal, our brain automatically creates another one. And throughout life, it continues to do so, one after the other. There's always that next milestone to chase. And if we're not careful, we will spend our entire lives arriving somewhere and then immediately looking beyond it. Never stopping long enough to appreciate where we are. And what if this is it? I don't mean this is all there is. I just mean, what if every moment matters? What if this ordinary day counts? What if this season of your life deserves your attention? Even if it's imperfect or messy, and even if you're still working towards something else. But here's the truth. There will always be something you're working on. Always. Nobody arrives. Nobody reaches some magical point where life is complete and every problem disappears. That just doesn't seem to be how being human works. We grow, we evolve, we learn, and that's all beautiful. But somewhere along the way, we have to make sure that we're living in the life we're building, not just the one we're imagining. Sometimes I think about all the things I would give anything to experience one more time. It might be a conversation or a voice, a holiday, or just a little bit of time with a person who's no longer here. And what's funny is that many of those moments felt completely ordinary when they happened. And while all of our experiences become memories, are we living those experiences in such a way to create memories that we will one day wish we could revisit? And maybe that's the simple lesson here, to not get so caught up in the future that we completely miss out on the present. Maybe one day we'll look back at this season and realize it mattered more than we knew. So, I hope you chase your dreams, and I hope you accomplish incredible things. I hope you achieve goals that seem impossible right now. And I hope that you become everything that you want to become. But I also hope that you don't wait until then to let yourself live. I hope you don't postpone joy or gratitude or your life, because the truth is, the life you've been waiting for may not be waiting somewhere in the future. Parts of it may already be here, in the ordinary moments, in the small victories, and in the people you love. All the little things that we become so busy that we overlook, one day will be memories. So before you go to sleep tonight, notice something, appreciate something, not because it's extraordinary, but because it's yours. And that's reason enough. Thank you so much for spending this time with me for another episode of Say It Anyway. I'm Corey Proffitt-Boyd, and until next time, say it anyway.
Say it anyway with Corey Proffitt-Boyd. Say it anyway.